Everybody. So this is my first installment of AMAP, Ask Me Anything Pilates. If you haven't joined me before, I've done this during the pandemic for quite a while. And once the pandemic ended, I stopped because people were getting busy. But I've been getting asked quite a few questions on a number of different levels and for different reasons and different things. So if anybody has a question they'd like to ask, they can ask it here, and I will try to answer it as best I can on anything, business, exercise, the classical. I can't really answer contemporary because I don't do contemporary. So if it's classical or Joe's, there's historical as well, archival, I can answer questions about that. One of the things that I was somebody did ask me a question last week about breathing. So one of the things, they asked about, what was Joe's breathing and how did he breathe? They wanted to know if there's a specific pattern that you follow. And if you read your Return to Life, you'll notice one thing that is quite unique in the text of the book for the exercises, that the only thing that is bolded in the book, I have one of Joe's originals, and when you open it up, the only thing that is it's not bolded, it's capitalized, I should say more. And if you look, you'll see that the only thing that's capitalized on every exercise is the breathing. And in Return to Life, Hi, Marcia. I see Marcia. That's, yep. Who else is here? Let me see who else showed up. I have to check and see everybody. Carla. Hi, I'm not sure everybody's name. Hi, Rebecca. There's Rebecca. So, in his book, 32 exercises, breathing is done slowly. In one exercise, it's done fast, and in one exercise, it's done normal. And so when you look at Rishai, hi Rishai, I don't know everybody's name. So when you look at his book, what you realize is that there's not necessarily a specific pattern for every exercise. Some systems say breathe in on this and breathe out on that. And in Joe's system, what he does is he breathes slightly different ways, and sometimes the inhalation and the exhalation are equal. Sometimes you'll have inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, exhalation. Sometimes you'll have inhalation, exhalation, exhalation, or inhalation, inhalation, exhalation. And variances of that as well. So it's not always just set. Pilates personal trainer, hi. So basically, what you need to understand is that there is no specific way of breathing pattern-wise always for every exercise, at least that I've seen in any of the documentation that I've seen as far as how the breathing works in Pilates system, because there's other documents that he produced that has text on it. That there's different what am I looking for? Posters, different posters that I feel like I'm being on the thing from last night, right? The between Trump and Biden. Oh no, here we go. So, anyways. So, in the different posters, there's text, and he talks about breathing there as well, and other documents that are in the archives that he talks about breathing. So we know that. So that's one of the things that we can do, and one of the things to pay attention to. So if anybody here has a question, I don't see any. Let me see. Michelle, hello. Yon, hello. Carolina. All right. So if you have a question, just type it here and type it in, and I will try to answer it for you. So that, so for breathing, there is no specific. Usually with when you look at the spring relationship, quite often when you're using the spring, you're inhaling. When you're using the spring on the other way, it's exhalation, meaning that when you extend the spring, you inhale, and when you have to control the spring back in, you don't just let it bang back in, right? We don't like to bang the apparatus. You tend to do the exhalation, right? So that's one of the things to look at as well. And when you've been trained there, salt, I cannot pronounce that name, but hi there. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to pronounce everybody because there's salt. I'm not going to even try. Sorry. So does anybody have a question that they would like to ask me as far as anything in relationship to Pilates? I mean, if not, I'm just going to do, one question and that was asked, and I did that already. And if there's nothing else, I'm not going to sit here and take up your time. But if you have a question, type it in. I'll wait another minute or so. And if not, then I'll probably end this, and I'll be doing this every Friday at 1, and hopefully more and more people will want to join in and ask questions. You can DM me ahead of time, especially if it's going to be a complicated question that I may have to do a little bit of research on and look into and figure out. Hi, Veronica. But you're going to need to... okay, question. Let me see. Question about breathing out through the mouth or the nose. Well, that's a good question, Rebecca. So there are some trainings that say you do one, right? That you do everything through the nose. But the easiest answer to that, we know that Joe didn't just breathe through the nose because you have the different breath apparatus that he had, right? The breathomil, the breathicizer, he had different things. And you can't do those apparatus through your nose, right? The pinwheel, I mean, maybe you could, I don't know, but it's not something that would work too well. And that's why you have the straw, because when you use the straw, it's kind of like more of a pursed lip breathing. You put pressure behind it, and that pressure gives you a backup so that you then have to strengthen your exhalation and you have more control, right? It's contrology, the study of control. So, and we have the ability, right, to control our breath on many different levels. The timing, the amount, and a lot of the exercises that we do help facilitate changes into the container, right? What's the container for the lungs is the rib cage and that part of the spine. So when that's happening, we have the ability with, I always like to say, why are there 3 barrels, right? Why 3 barrels? Well, a lot of the barrels are for what? To open up the rib cage and a lot of different configurations. So that's one of the things that he spent a lot of time working on, because there's 3 different barrels for 3 different reasons and different configurations. And within the system, you use the barrels different ways depending on the needs and the requirements of the individual. So you also have to do 1 p.m. every Friday. Yes, it'll be 1 p.m. every Friday, and so I will be. That's the plan. And if there's a reason why I won't be able to do Friday, I'll tell you the Friday before that I'm not going to be able to be there for whatever reason, unless there's an emergency, and that would be different. But I plan on being here every Friday. So the breathing aspect, Rebecca, back to that through the mouth or the nose. There are times when you breathe in through your nose, and there's time you can breathe in through your mouth. But right now, try the differences. Breathing through your nose, in through your nose, has a lot of physiological benefits, right? It stops a lot of the crud that's in the air, from viruses and everything else that has to go through and gets filtered. In your mouth, same way, but it goes both ways. So there's that aspect of it. It also, when you're talking about breathing, it can cool, right, or heat the air right before it gets to the lungs. So there's different reasons for that. Now, we don't necessarily have those issues when we're doing, regular Pilates, but we know Joe did things out in the snow. So again, there's different relationships to that as well. So, and as far as exactly when to breathe through your nose and through your mouth. If you look at, Return to Life in the pictures, you don't see him, breathing in, right? So you can breathe in or what, and if you try it, you'll see that usually breathing through your nose gives you a little bit better control of the breath. All right. And again, the breath tends to be much faster and shorter than the exhalation, right? So everybody, the easiest way to do this, right? Everybody take breathe in. How long does that take? Now breathe out. Right? So I can breathe out a lot longer than I can breathe in, but some of his exercises, they are designed to do what? To help you increase the amount of time that you breathe in. And part of that is, you have the diaphragm, which is the major muscle for breathing, but you have all the accessory muscles around the container, the ribs, the spine, right? The back, however you want to look at it, right? And it's not a specific muscle. There's multiple muscles. And so they all work to facilitate extra breath. So when you look at somebody who has a COPD or emphysema, one of those types of breathing issues where they're not able to get enough oxygen, you'll see that they do different postures and different things to try to allow those accessory muscles to work even more to try to get as much air in as possible. And they do definitely try to change the container. Right? And that's what we do in Pilates. We want to change the container. And one of the ways to do that is with the breath, depending on how you're doing the exercise. What do you do with the exercise that changes the container or puts and again, when I say change the container, we're talking minute changes over a period of time. It's just like if you have a structural bony issue, you're not going to change it, right? You're not going to really change it anytime fast. Bone doesn't mold quickly, because if it did, nobody'd have any bony issues. You just go, oh, let me do this to the bone and it would work, right? But it doesn't work that way. Those connective tissues, the fascias and the connective tissues take a very long time to change. But what does Pilates do? He does a dynamic, stretching over, and it's consistent. And if you do it over and over and over again, over a period of time, there are changes that happen. And so what's the job of the muscle? The job of the muscle is to either move or hold the bone. So if we're using it in those ways, and what's Pilates? It's either we're teaching them how to either hold or move the muscles. They're making them for movement, or we're working them for holding. So that's part of what we do all the time. So something to think about. All right. So any other questions? I think I added quite a bit for that. So if you have another question, you can ask it now. Hopefully I answered your question, Rebecca. If you have something more specific, one of the things that I suggest people do if you have a very specific exercise or a question like that is send it to me ahead of time. So you can DM me on here or on my personal, which is Sean Gallagher 3262 on Instagram or on Facebook. And if I get that, one of the things I can do is I can be a little bit better prepared to talk about specifics. If you have a more specific question that you would like to ask me. Okay. Anything else? If not, I'll give it another minute or so to see if another question shows up. Thank you all for joining. I'm sorry I didn't get to say hello to everybody. Because there's so many and I'm talking. So there's Monica, Jacinto, Ido Studio, all right, EU, the Heron. So I'm just trying to go through everybody. It's just hard and I don't know everybody's name. So if I don't get you, I'm sorry. There's a lot. All right, so doesn't look like there's any other questions. So since there's no more, I'll end today. Wait, let me see here. There's something here. You're welcome, Carolina. Let me see. Let's see what it says here. You sent a request. I'm not used to this view request to join live. I don't know if I want to set it up where we go back and forth live, but if you have questions written, I'll be happy to try to answer them. And if it's, I may, let me work on this and try it a few times, with somebody else to see if it's something I want to do. I've never done this before, where the review request to join. So the live video. So that may be something we can add on as we go along. My mistake, wrong button. Okay, no problem. All right. Anything else? Any other question? All right, so I'm going to get ready to end. A couple things that I do if you would like to join me on Mondays at 5 o'clock. Elaine Ewan and I teach a Return to Life mat class. And then after that, we also are teaching for the next couple weeks the push-up bar device class. They're both a half hour. You can go to my Linktree, Sean_Gallagher, and you can register there if that's something you're interested in. And what else are we doing? We've got this Monday, we have a webinar that is coming up, and it's also on my Linktree. It's on Corolla Cheer. It's the second one we've done. We have a whole webinar series, and this is on the history of her studio and all the things that she did in her studio and the articles and lots of information. Elaine has done most of this research for Corolla. We did some together, but she did a lot more. And it's really looking at Corolla Trier's history in Pilates and all the many different things that she's done over her career. So if that's something you're interested in, you're somebody that has a history and a background in Corolla's work, it would be something I think you'd want to partake in because it's very fascinating, the information, and a lot of great pictures as well. Okay, so that's it for this coming week. So and if anybody's in Beckett, Massachusetts or nearby on this Sunday, we have our volunteer workday that, to help volunteer to come and take care of Joe's property. We'll be, if it's not raining, and it looks like it might, it's not really sure yet with the weather, but if it's not raining, we're going to be working on restoring the pillars, the entrance pillars. The base foundations need to be redone. And if it is raining, we'll be inside restoring Joe's original scale. You can see in some of the old videos of Joe when he was teaching. And we'll be restoring that. And there's always, I have probably 150 banker boxes full of documents. Well, some of it's, different copies and different variations. But there's a lot of information that needs to be scanned, because that's one of the things at the museum that I'm going to make, that we're doing at the Pilates Museum in Beckett, is to be a place where people that are interested can come in and do the research. And we'll have it documented, the documents scanned and digitized, so it'll be a lot easier to do the research. So that's one of the things that we're working on as well. As the curator, there's a lot of different things that we're doing, and it's basically I'm doing most of it. And it's not just the museum aspect of it, it's the library aspect of it, it's the property, it's a little bit of everything. So again, that's what's going on this week. We do that in the summer. The last Sunday of every month is the volunteer day. So if that's something you want to do, DM me. So because we provide lunch, drinks, and things like non-alcoholic, but drinks. And things like that. So if you'd like to join, let me know so I have enough food and things for everybody. And if not, and if you want to come by and visit the museum at any time, let me know and DM me as well, because you're all welcome to come and visit me. All right. So I don't see any more questions for today. So I'm going to end it now, and I will see you all sometime this week or next Friday, hopefully. Okay. And if you have a question, again, please, especially if it's very specific or detailed or complicated, DM me so I can analyze it and look at how to best answer that with what I understand, know, and have available to do that with. Okay? All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining.